Guys, now we're back at Whiskey TV. You're going to hear some talking in the back. They're talking business. We're talking whiskey. Now, a big question that I always have is mash bill. Because the mash bill is technically the recipe.
Yep, and determination of if a whiskey's a bourbon, a rye, so forth, so on.
And what's crazy is, Jamarcus just asked me, he said, hey, how do you look at labels now? I said, I look at if it's Kentucky straight bourbon, or if it's bourbon, or if it's bourbon straight bourbon whiskey. I look at all these little things. I'm like, okay, that's corn. Sometimes I just say it's rye. Rye doesn't mean that it's spicy. Spicy doesn't mean that it lacks flavor. Flavor doesn't mean that there's not a story there, because there's always a story. Chance and I got a chance to walk through some old effing buildings, man. Yeah. The stuff we saw, it put in perspective. So, Andy's here. So many things. What I will tell you is, Seagram's people. Yeah. Tell the story that you learned, and we're gonna try this, and we're gonna try some other stuff.
So a lot of the distilleries we walked through were old Seagram's buildings because they were one of the major distilleries in Kentucky. They actually, kind of even made a city in Kentucky to avoid taxes. So how long have we been doing this? I mean, trying to make shelters for taxes, right?
And what's crazy is whiskey was responsible for trademarking and so many other things. And during the war, it helped supply and supply.
Paid for the war, yeah.
It paid for the war. And every time we went back to what it was like, hey, let's raise that whiskey tax.
Yeah.
He said, damn, boy, I didn't know whiskey had this type of impact on American history. Yeah. Which is why they made it so difficult for us to, well, not drink it, but.
Yeah, we didn't have an income tax until the whiskey tax went on. So.
Isn't that crazy? I ain't gonna tell them to bring back the whiskey tax, but I will tell you this. So walk them through mash bills, man. What should you be mindful of outside of it being, hey, this is what it is, and hell, this is what it's not?
Yeah.
What's one of the things they should be about? Because I said this. I said, okay, every documentary I've watched says no matter what happens, it has to, for it to be decent, 4 years old.
It's a good benchmark.
Yeah.
And what a name for a whiskey, right? There is a benchmark whiskey out there. And it's 4 to 6 years old. But yeah, 4 years is a good starting point. Different states age whiskey in different rates. I mean, it ages quick in Texas. Finding a 4-year in Texas is kind of hard, actually. A lot of
it starts here if it's a new fill.
Yeah. A lot of your like Still Austins and things like that are 3 years, 4 years on the shelf.
Because you lose so much.
Yeah, you lose so much, and it just, the environment here makes things age faster. We're dry, we're hot, we have humidity in the summer, and then dry winters.
But walk them through what's your favorite mash bill / recipe,
yeah.
And who's the person that produces your, I mean, we know who it is, but if it's not the blendery, who's the second place where you're like, oh, that's my go-to?
So mash bills, just remember this on the high notes, right? It's got to be 51% to be bourbon. You should know that.
Yep.
Anything under that is going to be considered whiskey, and then anything over 50% is considered bourbon, no matter what those other things are that go in there, 4 grain, 3 grain, whatever. It would still be a bourbon. So keep that in mind. Now, my favorite mash bill used to be 36 rye, because I found a lot of flavor in 36 rye. It was enough of the flavor components in that rye, because it is a flavor component. Rye, wheat, malt, corn, they're all flavor components. They all add to the mash bill, add to the flavors of the whiskey. And then you introduce the barrel. That's the other thing that adds flavor. Okay. So once you have that distillate and you're there, like 36 was my wheelhouse for a long time. When I started going to the blendery, I learned that 95.5 ryes can have just as much flavor with less ingredients. Literally 95 rye, 5% malt. No corn whatsoever. And I grew up on corn whiskey. I grew up on moonshine and cheap whiskey and stuff like that. It was all corn forward, right? Yeah. But ryes, to me, you said 4 years. It's interesting. So that's like the threshold for ryes. A lot of times ryes get to 4 years, they put them on the market, right? But we've learned at the blendery, like once that rye gets to about 8 years old, it takes a little corner. And it starts to change flavor. And if we could go back and
almost turns back to a bourbon.
Yes. It gets bourbon friendly.
It's like,
it's bourbon friendly.
Bourbon, isn't it?
Yep.
No, it's not. It's a 95.5. Well, at 4, you can't tell. At 7 and 8, it starts becoming magical borderline.
Exactly.
So your palate changed or the whiskey changed? Which one was it?
Both. The whiskey I was drinking changed.
So out of these, which one's your favorite mash bill? Because we put down some Jack. Old Jack is always right. Bluegrass.
Yep.
Who knew that specific recipes done at a different distillery, won't tell the full story, would yield such high flavor.
Yeah,
You would.
yeah. You know, placement. There's so many factors that matter. Everybody's tried to like figure this out with science. I listened to somebody talk to Jimmy one day and said, I can fix your flavor problem, I can fix your warehouse problem. And he was like an MIT student, right? And Jimmy's like, we've tried all that. We can't do that. You don't understand how this works, son. And he literally like just schooled him and said, look, we've tried everything you've said and it doesn't come out the way you thought it would.
You know why?
So that's 75, 13, 12.
Yeah, I know what this is. Like this, I know what this is here. This right here, boy, just a dab would do you.
And I'm a turkey head, so 75, 13, 12 is my favorite.
Tell you right now, it's refreshing. It takes you back, doesn't it? It's like going down memory lane. You just want to take this to the head. But we're going to be respectful of the whiskey. So he tried everything. I don't like to bring God into a lot of things, but there's some things you just can't control people. And sometimes placement, position in life is everything. Which means if we did all that you said, but it's worked for 75 years here, and we tried all, they're like, oh, we can speed it up. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Yeah.
For it to be something we can stand behind and put out to the market, it has to be this, and we just have to wait, because that's what whiskey is. It's a time thing, which is hence heritage.
You gotta be patient.
Man, and history, man. So we're gonna get into history in one of the next episodes. As Chance, yeah, exactly. I knew he's gonna want some of this one. I mean, it's his. How much is this one?
I think I misquoted earlier. I think that's $400 for that one.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I said they added $100 to them Buffy turkeys.
I wanted to believe it was $300.
No, because Tim the blender, we dropped it for $250.
Yeah.
Others were dropping them for $300.
$350. Yeah.
Some dropped them from $8.
And he kept that one an extra year, which means evaporation and loss.
So he had up the price because he lost some costs.
Yeah.
But let's talk about heritage, because every one of these things, I mean, they're a part of history.
Yeah.
And this right here, that's history in itself.
Yep.
And we'll get into that too, people. Stay tuned, keep it whiskey.
That'll be good.
Ooh.